Chapter 7, page 214. Reading. Addiction. What can be done about it? An addiction is a physiological or psychological dependence on a substance or activity. One can be addicted to alcohol, drugs, tobacco, gambling, even food. In this passage, we will discuss addiction to alcohol and other drugs. Physiological dependence means that the body has become accustomed to a drug and needs these chemicals just to function. The body of an addict craves these substances. Physiological dependence is determined when a person experiences tolerance and withdrawal. Tolerance means that the body becomes used to the effect of the drug. The body then requires larger doses of the drug to produce the same effect. Withdrawal occurs when the person stops taking a drug on which he or she is physiologically dependent and experiences painful physical symptoms. Psychological dependence means that a person comes to depend on the feeling received from a drug. Psychological dependence often involves denial, in which the addict does not admit or does not realize that he or she is in trouble with alcohol or other drugs. The person believes that he or she can control the use of the drug and is not causing any harm. Did you know? According to Prevention's Book of Health Facts, about 75% of deaths from lung cancer among women are caused by smoking. On average, a cigarette smoker is 10 to 15 times more likely to get lung cancer than a non-smoker. Intervention. To wake up an addicted person from this state of denial, many families rely on a process called intervention. Intervention means interrupting the downward slide before the addict hits bottom. The process begins with meetings of family members and other people important in the life of the addicted person. They usually meet first with a drug and alcohol counselor and someone from a support group, such as Alcoholics Anonymous, to learn about addiction and discuss how they have been affected by it. Then they have the actual intervention, a surprise meeting with the addict, to force this person to see how unmanageable his or her life has become because of the addiction. At this meeting, they present a plan for immediate treatment and let the addict know that it's time to face the consequences of the addiction. Alcoholism. Alcoholism, or addiction to alcohol, is considered a disease by the American Medical Association, AMA. Since 1987, drug dependence or drug addiction has also been considered a disease by the AMA. Both of these diseases are described as chronic, happening over a long period, progressive, getting worse over time, and potentially fatal, possible to die from. Recovery. Like addiction, recovery, learning to live without alcohol or drugs, is a process that happens over time. The first two steps are, 1, to recognize that there is a problem with alcohol or drugs, and 2, to make the decision to give them up. The third step is to actually remove these drugs from the body. This process is called detoxification and should take place under medical supervision. People in recovery describe themselves as recovering instead of recovered. This is because the recovery process is ongoing and lifelong. Alcoholism and drug dependence cannot be cured. They can, however, be prevented from progressing further. And people can begin the recovery process at any point on the downward slide into addiction, even before they suffer major losses. Did you know? Addiction to cocaine is increasing in much of the world. Among those addicted in the U.S., some 200,000 are in drug treatment, 55,000 are homeless, and 1,530,000 were arrested in one recent year. Most experts in the field of addiction recommend total abstinence for the recovering alcoholic and addict. Total abstinence means not using any mood-altering drugs, including alcohol. Long-term studies show that attempts at controlled drinking and drug use usually fail. Even small amounts of alcohol or other drugs can send an addict back into addiction. Many people in recovery manage to stay drug-free for the rest of their lives. Others may have relapses, periodic returns to drinking and drug use. Yet despite how many times the person relapses, the choice of and chance for recovery are always there. Treatment choices. A support group is a group of people who share a common problem and work together to help each other and themselves to cope with and recover from that problem. Regular attendance at such support groups is the most popular form of ongoing treatment for addictions. Support groups such as Alcoholics Anonymous, AA, Narcotics Anonymous, and Cocaine Anonymous have played a major role in helping people to get and stay free of alcohol and drugs. At meetings, which are held frequently all over the world, members provide support and help each other stay sober. Such meetings are confidential. Members can remain anonymous because nobody has to give his or her last name, and the meetings are free. Alcohol and drug treatment centers offer a wide range of services. Detox units in some hospitals or treatment centers help an addict through detoxification, usually 3 to 7 days. Some people go directly from detox to a support group. Inpatient treatment centers are facilities where a person stays for a month or more. Outpatient treatment centers allow a person to live at home during the treatment and spend a few hours each day at the center. Halfway houses offer housing, counseling, and support meetings for 6 months to a year to help people learn coping and living skills so that they can return to society. Codependency. Some people who live with an alcoholic or drug addict become codependent. They are not addicted, but they suffer from a very damaging emotional and social obsession. Codependents try to protect the addict from facing the consequences of the drug problem. They lie for the addict, lend money, make excuses. Such actions, of course, do not help the addict. They just make it possible for him or her to continue in the addiction and cause a variety of stress-related disorders for the codependent, ranging from depression and eating disorders to high blood pressure.